for more than 5 decades.
The views and opinions presented by the host, guests, or callers on this program do not necessarily represent the positions of WMBS Radio.
Well, thank you, TJ. Democratic Hour on WMBS, 590 AM, 101.1 FM. Our telephone number, 724-438-4593. T, you're back in action. How's your voice?
I'm doing well, George. Thank you. Yeah, last week was rough.
Too much singing with Justin, huh?
Exactly. That's what it was.
That's it. I'm not gonna
Hey, he
send
brought it up,
call.
not me.
I think they're conspiring against me. But no, I'm glad you're back. See, I'm glad you're
Thank
feeling
you,
better.
George.
And it's
Yeah, I'm
tough to
doing
do
better.
a radio show, and you're here all the time, and you're having a problem with your voice.
But hey, toughed it out. You got to do it.
You're a tough guy. T, we start the show with a little music, and we might as well keep tradition going.
Yeah, let's. Oh, we would never break from tradition here, right?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
I did get together with this guy over the 4th of July, even though I didn't have much of a voice. I couldn't talk much, but we still had a good time.
Oh, there ain't no doubt in my mind. It took over for me, Justin Timberlake. That's the one and only Justin Timberlake. Rich, I have no idea where to start. I have so many things that transpired since we were here last Friday, but let me take this headset off. First thing, I want to remind everybody that the Fayette County Democratic Women will be on Five Corners, as they have been since last March.
Year.
And the reason I brought it up today, they'll be there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Last Saturday they were there, and people got to realize, and I stopped by, as I always try to when they're there. So I was leaving, I pulled up the red light, and next thing there was a heated discussion going on. I could hear something going behind me in a car. And here's a gentleman. I'm going to call him a gentleman because I can't say what I want to on air. So he is confronting the women. And I'm thinking to myself, and I got out of the car and told the gentleman my car wasn't working, and he had to pull around me. And I'm thinking, what did these women do to agitate you? You were belligerent. You were ignorant. They have no profanity on their signs. They're out there demonstrating what's going on in this country. And he has a problem with it. I mean, he had a serious problem with it. You know, the majority of people toot their horns. You're going to have a few that, you know, what's going to happen. They're going to give him the bird.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody down there, really and truly. But this person, I mean, you talk about adamant. And they'll be down there, and for the life of me, why this person or people are so upset because they informed the local police. They're there. They've been there. Whatever they bring with them, they carry it away out, so there's no litter.
No destruction of
No.
properties.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So again, if anybody wants to stop by, the Fayette County Democratic Women will be there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
No, I've talked to friends, other individuals who who have questioned me about why they do that. And
Let's see if we're. I thought maybe they had a weather warning. Go right ahead, Rich. I'm Paul.
my point is, like, you know, what are you disappointed at? I mean, it's democracy, and
Right.
people. I think what it is, they see Democrats having some momentum started, and they're trying to continue it. And I think people in the other party don't like that.
You
at
know,
all.
especially when you see somebody in their late 90s is down there. The lady comes down. I mean, it breaks your heart to see somebody who's so concerned with what's going on in this country, and you're going to condemn these individuals for being there. Well, Rich, let me say this before we get to local issues. Of course, we all know the one and only was at the NATO summit in Turkey. And, of course, and I bring it up, it was on 7/7 this week. And, of course, there was the issue with the plane.
The new airplane.
The new airplane, right? Remember whether it was
Getter.
a show, right?
Getter gave it to him, yeah.
And again, he has his story, and the FBI or Secret Service has their story. and you know who I'm believing,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure is believing the President of the United States what comes out of his mouth. Now, the so-called plane that he got, right, from Qatar, and it was supposed to be retrofitted, it's
Right.
supposed to be up to date. Evidently, it wasn't because while they were there, the so-called disagreement we had between us and Iran is over with again, right?
Yeah, as of officially this afternoon, he said it's done.
Done.
So, all over.
You know, the guy that could, claims he solved 7 wars, right? The first day he was going to solve the so-called Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, Rich, I do believe that you watched it and everybody else watched it. And I know it happened to the other presidents, but I'm calling Donald Trump out for this. And he's sitting next to Zelensky, and there's a press conference. And what does he tell us, the reporters? Ask, go ahead.
Anybody want a question for President Putin?
So he called him Putin, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know when he caught himself, right? But that's what happened. But getting back to the plane, he claims, and of course they flew the Air Force One back to the United States or maybe somewhere
To,
else, and then they switched planes.
UK, yeah.
Yeah, but he claims they were going to drop it off so the military could look and go through it. Now, do you believe that?
Well, the thing that's interesting as well, the reporting that came out in the last couple of days is the new Air Force One is not retrofitted with all the secure communication devices, or they have defensive equipment on their rockets so they don't get blown out of the air and whatnot.
Right.
Okay, Turkey is next door
Yeah,
to where?
the border, right?
Yeah.
Iran,
Yeah.
right.
Don't you think he would want to be safe?
Well, he claims he's the #1 target in the world.
Well,
so, I mean, I no doubt he is, but
Yeah.
but like I said, but that's his version of the plane, right?
Right.
And getting back to that, and I have a note here. Now he's calling them they're liars, right? About the so-called peace and security, what he had with Iran and United. So what did we get out of it? We spent, they claim, $500 billion. We lost 13 American lives. How many were wounded? I have no idea. And we're still there. And of course, the only reason we went there is because of Israel.
And the Strait of Hormuz
Right.
is closed. Used to be open.
And of course, his so-called, price, everything's good. Anything he said, market's good, this is good, the gas is up, the worst economy. I inherited worst president of the United States. Everything's worse. He's made it better for everybody. Well, Donald, the price of gas is not where it was when you came into office. Groceries are not down; they're up. So again,
Yeah, his points, major points in the memorandum, destroy their missiles. Obviously, they haven't destroyed their missiles. They're still shooting off, so I have no doubt the U.S. has the best military in the world.
well, there is no doubt about
no,
that.
no doubt about it. But it's like Iran still has capability to knock the heck out of boats in
the strait.
in the strait there, including the U.S. And price of gas hasn't come down.
Groceries haven't come down. But then, of course, we're all excited. We have the World Cup here in the United States. We have our team. And Rich, I don't watch a lot of soccer, but I did watch some of these. And of course, there's a lot of people from all these countries visiting America. So one of our players received a red card.
Yep.
And he wasn't going to play. He was suspended for a game
One game.
against Belgium.
Right.
And guess who had to pick up the phone, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a red card. He's a Republican.
Well, the Republican. Now, we lost. They were outplayed. Belgium had believe me, I think here we got President of the United States got to interfere and again, right?
Right.
Picks up the phone, calls his so-called buddy who gave him the Peace Prize. Didn't
Yeah.
he give him some sort of award?
Oh, FIFA.
Yeah.
FIFA trophy. Yeah.
And now the rest of the world was rooting for Belgium over the United States
Yeah.
because of one person, Donald Trump.
And the U.S. player who got the red card, where'd he come from?
I don't think he came from, he was on, right?
His parents came over here and he was born.
Born.
Yep.
So here we are. So he interferes in that. And speaking of local, I know TJ mentioned it. Believe it or not, Rich, our legislators are in Harrisburg this weekend.
Yeah. Well, he said they're going to have a vote on Sunday afternoon. It's like,
We're gonna see that. So, folks, And again, the budget, and Rich and I talked about this, the budget was due June 30th. It's not the first time. It's the budget. The last year, there was 106, I do believe,
135?
130 some days
Yeah.
before they settled the budget. And I say when it comes back, I think they're going to vote according to what I read, and I may have it here, Rich, and you go ahead and
Yeah.
say anything you want to while I'm looking this up.
I mean, it's a shame they can't get this, a budget done.
No, and again, and I've said this, and I know it was mentioned on previous shows, I think when, they should not, legislators should be compensated, long as, if there's a budget delay, then they should be compensated.
No
Plain-
compensation.
No compensation,
Yeah.
no back pay either,
And cut out their per diems.
right? So
But why don't they just keep them in Harrisburg?
keep them in Harrisburg, you
Just
know.
keep them in Harrisburg.
So if you have any questions, folks, pick up the phone here next week and ask our 3 local legislators we have here, Charity, Ryan Warner, and Pat Stefano. What's in a budget? Why are they for it? Why are they against it? I know the 2 Republicans voted against the budget. And of course, if it is passed this weekend, there is some things coming in 2026. They're looking at, of course, how to tax the so-called
Skill machines.
skilled machines.
Yeah.
And then I think there's something on marijuana.
Right.
Yeah, and I forget what the other issue is. So,
Education funding is
yeah,
one.
and we know how important, you know, to keep public funding here in the state. So that's some of the things I wrote down. But we already got it again.
But the turnpike tolls are going back up.
Yep. I don't have a problem. I just drove on a turnpike, and I know where some of that money should stay with. But they take it out of turnpike, and I think they fund other projects outside of the turnpike. I think some of the money goes back to PennDOT.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just traveled it from Breezewood to New Stanton. I have no problem. I don't have a problem paying tolls. You know, and that's part of the infrastructure. And if the money's used wisely to make the roads better in Pennsylvania, I'm all for it.
Yeah, but that's not what it's always used for.
No. And again, getting back to the election, and I know Democrats are trying to raise the minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know, that's another issue coming up. And again, our legislators are compensated $113,000, I think $185 a day per team. You know, they're getting paid to go back and forth. from there.
Automatic increases every year.
Next year, you're right, 3.3 or something to that, close to it. But yet, how they could vote against raising minimum wage is beyond me. It
Yeah.
hasn't been raised in I don't know how many years. I think since 1993, I had it written here
I mean,
several times.
Huck, when I ran for state rep, it was 98,000 and change.
Yeah, now it's 113,
13.
and it'll go up again. So,
Yeah.
folks, 3% of 113,000 added up, that's another 3,000 change. And again, I don't have a problem paying. And I was a union rep. I know what it was to go out and work and being compensated for the work you do. But get something done. I just can't imagine you go there and can't work across the aisle for the betterment of your constituents here throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Got to be something you agree on.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah. I mean, remember, who was it? Reagan and Tip O'Neill fought like heck. And at the end of the day, they sat down and had drinks.
They had some beer, right?
I think it was more than beer.
Well, I don't know. It was
Irish.
Irish, I would say. They probably did their share of drinking.
Yes.
Again, our telephone number is 724-438-4593. But, you know, much as you and I are out and about, and, you know, especially after, you know, you think, okay, last week I said, if you can't get any worse. Then you hear what he did in Turkey. Then what he did when he come back. Then what he did over the last weekend with this great 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. You know, it extended his speech till about 11 o'clock last week. Then the crazy things he continued to say. You know, everything,
It was
it's
a rally.
bigger, it's better, it's this, it's that. Now they so-called the commission to build this so-called ark, right?
250 foot high.
250 feet high. Now, could you imagine? Everything is all about Trump, folks. He could give a rat's you-know-what about you. And the people you continue to support, shame on you. He has money for the war, none for the poor. They're cutting SNAP programs here, and I know people here in Fayette County and Greene County and around our surrounding counties are affected by it. But there's no shame.
Yeah. I mean, you take his beautification program. Now, they put the canvases up on the north portico because the speculation is he wants different columns,
Yes.
different type columns. Put in the helipad there. I mean, my goodness.
Man has a problem. I have a problem with him. And again, folks, and then we have election coming. We have election, and again, we'll see our candidate, Ellen Bradstock, out and about. I think the election might be 116 days, I think,
Yeah,
in
something like
November.
that,
It'll be
yeah.
here November 2nd. And folks, have you seen your legislator? I know my sister seen him about a month ago.
Yeah,
The
remember
guy, right? Guy who? Serious. Where's he been? What's he brought back here to Fayette County or Greene County he represents, and part of Somerset and part of Westmoreland County and Bedford County? We haven't seen him. No representation, no town hall meetings. I mean, and again, that's where we're at. And I know the president, I mean, trust me, and I know Joe's probably listening to the show. I guarantee he's going to do everything humanly possible, the current president of the United States, these midterms, whatever chaos he could do for people going out to vote. You know, I'm thinking to myself, you vote by mail, he's against mail. Act 77 was passed here a few years ago in Pennsylvania, and it was the Republicans want mail-in ballots.
Right.
At that time, there was
Now
a
they're
compromise
against
that you can't vote as straight tickets. And like I said, and here we are.
Well, you take a look at what President Trump did in the last day or so, firing the 2 Democrats on the
Yeah.
election commission. There are 5 people on the election commission. It is empty now because there was the 2 Democrats he fired, and there's a Republican woman, and she quit. So, and the other 2, I forget what the heck happened to
Now,
them.
you know what kind of motive he's going to appoint,
Yeah.
whoever he's going to appoint, right?
Yeah, and the election commission, you know, pretty much takes a look at the electronic voting machines. And, you know, he's probably not going to be too happy about that. And the election commission also sets the rules that the states have to follow on mail-in balloting. No,
You know,
no.
we heard this even locally. Fraud. There is, folks, fraud. It's so little you couldn't, voting by the millions here in the Commonwealth and millions throughout the United States. I mean, that's their claim to everything, fraud. And, you know, when we rig elections, if we were rigging elections so good here in Pennsylvania, there wouldn't be a Republican ever would win election,
Yeah, I mean, Republicans control the White House,
right?
both chambers of Congress,
right.
Congress,
So evidently they rigged the
Supreme
election.
Court. You know, it's supposed to be independent, but
Right, we know that's furthest from the truth.
yeah, but I don't know. It's
But again, like I said, with the elections, 116 days, the Democrats, I mean, history, regardless who the president is, if the president is a Democrat, they usually lose seats in his first term of
Yeah.
office. It's happened, I don't know,
years.
in years and years. So we're going to see where this all goes.
Yeah, I mean, Obama's in his midterm. He said, "I went out and there was a shellacking." Remember that? The House members took over.
You know, we're going to see what happens here. And folks, that's why we say elections have consequences. You don't vote, don't complain. And there's no reason today when mail-in ballots, right?
Yeah.
You have the luxury of, getting a ballot at home.
Yep.
Just, take
Fill
your
it out.
time, send it in, make sure it gets to Bureau of Elections. And of course, with the Postal
Post-
Service.
yeah, what they're going to try to do. Yeah.
And I know we have locally here, and I give all the credit to Bureau of Elections, our local postal service here. Any mail-in ballots come in, they take them right down to the polling, right to the Bureau of Elections.
Yeah, they don't ship them to
Nope,
Pittsburgh.
nope. And what they do, they sign, and it's all recorded. So that's one good thing. But getting back here to our state budget, again, I made a bold prediction, Rich, and I think you and I were close to it. I said it would be at least the second week in July, and if this happens this weekend.
Yeah,
And regardless if our legislators vote, when you call them out, I mean, call them out in a nice way. Say, what you voted against the budget. Tell me why you voted against the budget.
Yeah.
I mean, what was in his budget was so upsetting? I know the budget goes up every year.
and it seems like it's very similar arguments every year in Harrisburg.
We want education, and we're spending too much on education. Well, we're spending too much on transportation. but they don't have a problem taking a 3.3 increase in their wages.
Yeah. It's,
All I'm saying is, guys and girls, do something while you're there.
Yeah.
Just like you said, they should have been there. They had to come home, and now they're going back, and we're paying for them to go
good
back.
travel for the
right?
per diems. Yep.
Per diem. So again, folks, anybody wants to call in and discuss anything that Rich and I just talked about is 724-438-4593. And also, anybody wants to, they have a website out, Fayette County Democratic Women. So if you want to join their organization, I know they have a Facebook page. And my hat's off to our new leadership here
Tracy.
in Fayette County, Tracy Wilson and Matt Lancaster, the chair and vice chair
Vice
of the Democratic Party. So I know they're up and running, and they're going to get a Facebook page up and running here at the Fayette County Democratic Party. A lot of things are going to transpire. I know they're going to be heavily involved in Fayette County Fair. We're hoping to have some of the statewide candidates. And I know it was 4 years ago at that time, we had Austin Davis, who's the current Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania, stop by the fair. And of course, you're going to see a lot of Alan Bradstock, who's running against Guy Who, right?
And then after midterm is over, then starting January,
Yeah,
go to the
have
county,
we county and
all over again.
It's all over, and where we have the commissioners race.
Commissioners, it's in a couple seats in
Yeah,
the courthouse.
Courthouse, yes. So that should be a busy time. And again, with local school boards now, they're talking about, closing schools and,
You couldn't
class
pay
size.
me enough to be on a local school board right now.
folks, and, and I do believe, I think Albert Galt might have raised some of the taxes
Yeah.
because of, we said this so many years ago when our Representative Tim Mahoney talked about merging some of these school districts. And, maybe it's time to look at that again. And, for all, I think we have 7 school districts here in Fayette County,
I think,
and these budgets are millions and millions of dollars, folks.
and it's not only taxing, it's, the school boards are going to have to grapple with the idea of closing some schools.
We're all for education, and of course, a lot of this, there's some funding comes out when somebody wants to go to cyber school or charter school, and
That's money taken away from
the public education. You look up here where I live, and you see buses going by with no kids on them because parents or grandparents taking the kids to schools.
Yeah.
Now, you imagine if that's just done here locally, you imagine what's going on in Brownsville, what's going on in Albert Gallatin, what's going on in Connellsville, what's going on in Uniontown, what's going on in Laurel Island. So, we have a redundancy of all this transportation. I know years ago you walked to school, I walked to school.
I walked, yeah.
And today we're in some different times. The other thing too that was brought up, I know it's been in the paper again, proposed data centers. That's been the hot topic.
There's so
There's
much.
much misinformation out there today. The so-called the good, the bad, the ugly, like the movie Clint Eastwood, right? Good,
Yeah.
bad, and ugly. And just like I said, me being around the trade unions all my life, we have a major project up at Homer City. It's going to be over $12 billion. A tremendous amount of money is being spent. A tremendous amount of money for the trades to get their members working. And T, we have a caller on the line.
We do.
Let's see who we got.
All right.
All righty.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking with?
Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Good.
That's good. That's good. Hey, you're talking good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, I'll have to think. Tuco. Okay, Tuco, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, Tuco.
The thing that I haven't heard anybody mention all week long after watching that fair down there in Washington, D.C., it was a nightmare.
Great American Fair.
The Great American Fair, I think when and they keep coming back with, oh, no, it wasn't. But when the vice president's wife spoke, there was 36 people there. It was a total bust. Nobody could afford it. $22 hamburgers, and the food wasn't really that good. But the thing that kind of amazed me was nobody has shown this, definitely not on Fox News, definitely not on Fox. The Patriot Front, Did you see the Patriot Front there, guys?
You talking about the guys with the white handkerchiefs over their faces?
400. Oh, those weren't handkerchiefs. Those
Well.
were special things that you put over your neck and you can pull them up
Right,
above your nose.
right.
But yeah, over 400 of them from the Patriot Front with the little patches on their sleeves,
Yeah.
with the little designs on their hats. 400 chanting "Reclaim, reclaim, reclaim."
I did see
Who
that.
were these clowns?
And carrying carrying Confederate flags.
I mean, Confederate flags means a couple different things
Right.
to me. Okay, it can mean heritage, it can mean history. I get that,
Yeah.
but the things that I'm more interested are the patches on the sleeves, the patches on the hats, what they're standing for. This to me just looks like something that you could compare out of the 40s and 50s with the KKK. Something that you could actually compare out of the 70s and 80s to the skinhead movement, Nazi kind of foundations. This is a little bit weird to me.
You know what?
And there's-
Why don't they put patches on the ICE people and hopefully would not have had another shooting down in Houston? And there's nothing on the cars to identify them as law enforcement. They're not wearing the body cams.
Yeah, there was no
No.
body cams in this one.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No,
So-
and the thing that gets me is when we talk about borders, and the last time I was on this radio station, I got in a heated discussion with somebody. We were talking about borders, and the two things that gets me is I can have criminals in my backyard carry around 3 9mm with all kind of ammunition, but nobody says anything. We're not concerned about that. We're concerned about, and they specify the southern border, and that is because the president, the one who spews all this division, that's what he focuses on. 83 different countries, people from 83 different countries have come through our northern border. You never hear them say anything about that. The things that come through on customs, I haven't heard anything about that. They only focus on the 5 countries that come through our southern border, and those people are the root of all evil. And it gets so tired of hearing. And this is coming from your president. This is and I still say it, when he came down that escalator, he just started nothing but division. And when these people are sitting there, getting out of their car and yelling at people with 5 corners, whether you agree with them or not, they're getting frustrated because they know that what they voted for and who they voted for really ain't turning out and ain't working.
Good
And
point.
what I would go back to them is pretty simple. Look at the groceries, not just groceries, George.
Yeah.
Go buy anything. Go buy paint at the grocery store or building supplies or clothing or shoes or anything that you buy is probably up 10 to 20% now. And it's passed on to us. And it's because of those stupid tariffs that this genius put on. Now, also on top of that, your gas, it's fluctuating. But you got to figure, too, he's taken our national reserves and he's depleted them.
It's
to
very,
try and get
very
this-
low. Very low.
Right,
now.
and what you go forward again. We talk about what they're cutting chip for health insurance for kids, people that don't have health insurance. Obamacare, and whether you agree with Obamacare or not, I didn't like it, but it was something that administration put in place to try and do something for health care. What has this administration done?
They got
He's
a
had
plan.
4 years.
They have a plan.
Where is it? We're not worried about it. If it was worried about it, he held up a bill, and this is another thing, housing. Everybody
Right.
signed off on it.
Right,
It's
yes.
on his desk. He says no, and that helps the middle class. He says no because I want this attached to it. And until we sign that, screw you.
Yeah.
And that's what his attitude is.
Well, it
So
becomes-
there's the housing.
then it
I mean, you
becomes-
talk about Social Security. You can go on and on and on with this guy. And then you're going to walk around, people are going to walk around and yell and kick and scream saying how great it is. No, it's not. I don't know what world you're living in.
Well,
Well,
James,
the,
I
hou-
agree
the,
with
hou-
you.
the housing bill becomes law at midnight, even if he doesn't sign it today. And if he vetoes it,
They
the
have to
wide
vote.
majority is bipartisan, I'm sorry, and that would easily be overturned on veto.
Well, you look at this administration and what they have done. I mean, it's the same when you say, well, there's the southern corridor here, and we've talked about a battery center. We've talked about windmills. We've talked about solar panels. We're talking about a data center. Everything. No, we don't want it. Well, okay, those people and their taxes go up, but we have all kind of farmland, but their taxes go up, but that's what they want. Okay, fine. That's really, to me, that's poor representation, because you want it this way, you want it to stay that way, and heck with everybody else. These people are making money, whether it's local, state, or feds. There was a story out, guys, that said the most wealthy people in America gained $360 more billion in one quarter. The rich are getting richer under this administration. And everybody else, like I said, you can look, whether it's your pocketbook, people are charging more, and there's houses being foreclosed more, cars being foreclosed more on people's credit cards. But you sit there and people say, "Oh, it's wonderful." Listen to Fox News, and I would think I'm in a different country. I mean, really. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, James,
the view that they put on.
You brought up, look what his family's wealth has went up as president of the United States.
Okay, no, wait a minute, real quick. Kazakhstan, I think that's how you pronounce it. Kazakhstan was looking for somebody to mine tungsten carbide,
right?
And they came to him and came to the country and said, "Do you know of anybody?" It went to him. He had his ear to the ground. So him and his boys got together. His boys got on this company. This company takes them on as representatives. Then they buy into it. They're over there mining, and we my tax dollars, are 1.5 million or more, are given to this company to help them start up and mine the carbide and tungsten, and it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
James, you see it, I see it, Rich sees this, a lot of other individuals see it, but there's some of these people who continue to back him to hell. I don't understand it. I truly don't.
Well, the only, and here's the thing that I'm predicting, guys, and then I'll leave you alone.
Please.
I look at the 3 assassination attempts, Charlie Kirk included, that one and the 2 on Trump. The guy runs by him. There's so many holes. There's more holes than Swiss cheese in these attempts on his life. It would be very convenient, and you see it lining up, to say, "Oh my, Iran tried to make an attempt on my life," trying to gather support for these midterms or further along in his term somewhere. I'm not surprised that this isn't going to be pulled. Like, oh my gosh, Iran made an attempt on my life, and they weren't,
Well, I hope there is not an attempt. It's like, keep the violence out of politics.
I agree. I don't want to see
No.
it, but I'm just saying you can't believe a thing that this guy says. I mean, to see him, I think just this week say they are wanting to meet with us so bad. They want to sit down with us so bad. I've heard that a dozen times
since February.
I've heard that.
Yep. James, we're going to let you go. We thank your input. We appreciate the call.
Guys, you have a great week. George, thank you for your service.
you're
Rich,
quite
you're
welcome.
doing excellent. Talk to you guys later.
Okay,
Thank
take
you,
care.
James.
Thanks.
Okay, another call.
Who we got?
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who are we speaking to?
This is Ken. How
Ken,
you
what's
doing,
up,
guys?
Ken?
Hey, man. Hey, the other day I heard Trump say that them Iranians weren't nothing but a bunch of liars.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, they're liars. I have it written down here, right? They're
Yeah.
liars, right?
A bunch of liars.
I guess he hasn't looked. I guess he hasn't looked in a mirror recently.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there isn't a truthful word that's ever come out of his
They're
mouth.
liars.
But anyway, and then that guy had some real good points that was just on there.
Yeah, this is
But
James.
them women are more patriotic, and they care more for their country. It's not just the women, but the guys that go down there 2 to 5 corners to demonstrate. They care more for their country than anybody that had ever voted for Donald Trump. Now they could change their mind, because this guy. I mean, who would intentionally vote for a convicted felon? Who? And they know he lies. They know he lies. And it's like, and of course, Fox News, they just help spread it.
Yeah,
But-
and he thumbs his nose at the court. I mean,
Right.
look at this E. Jean Carroll. I mean, the courts,
Said you gotta
everybody,
pay.
all the way up to Supreme Court says, pay it. The
Pay it.
money's in escrow. Just, sending it
Right.
electronically, and he just thumps his nose at the
And
loss.
that's a drop in the bucket compared
Oh,
to
yeah.
what he makes every day
Yeah.
off of being president.
Well,
you know?
Ken, I know you're down with your wife down on Five Corners. You've been there, and you see what's going on. I mean, like I said, there's no profanity by any of the individuals there. The majority of people
No.
come by, but occasionally you've seen it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's just that people get so aggravated because you're there. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
No,
They just can't
you know,
stand there as somebody, right, trying to,
They-
to demonstrate what's going on in this country, right?
Exactly. Right. Yep. And all they have, their signs.
Yes.
It's nothing hard. It just tells the truth about what is happening to our country, and yet they can't handle it. They I don't know if they're pissed because they voted for him, or some people think he's done a great job, but you know, and this with the arch.
Yes.
You know, he's spending money for everything except for where he needs it. The soldiers that have been injured, and some of them really shut up bad, and of course other ones have mental problems. And these people should be taken care of.
And they should
You know,
put
they-
their life on the line for the country.
they did, and yet he thumbs his nose to them. And why a soldier would ever vote for this guy anymore, I don't know. Same with police officers. January 6th,
Yeah.
they got their heads beat in, and don't stand behind this guy. They have to realize that this guy is all about crap.
It's all about him.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, it is.
you
Yes,
mentioned
it is.
you mentioned the arch that he's trying to get built, and all the other things that he's doing. You know, the ballroom and
He's
whatever.
swinging,
A lot of that money is coming out of the National Park Service. He's diverted the money from the National Park Service. It's supposed to go out and fix some of our national parks. There are national parks out there that they had to close hiking trails because they don't have the
Right.
money to improve those. But
To
he's got
maintain them,
money to
right.
put a
Yep.
250-foot arch up.
There's no shame,
Yep.
like we said, Ken. I wanted to tell you something else about this Saturday. I know I'm going to stop by. And again, I commend those individuals who are down there,
You get another
Yep.
regardless the temperature, the weather. They're dedicated to what they do. Ken, we're
Yes,
going
they
to
are.
grab another caller, and Ken,
Okay.
if good Lord's willing, I'll see you tomorrow if you're down.
Thanks. Thank
You're
you. Yep,
quite
I hope
welcome.
so.
See you.
Alrighty.
All right. God bless.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking to?
Sean from the mountain.
Hey, Sean, where have you been, Sean, from the mountain?
Well, you know, George, it's the farm and it's summertime, so you know what that
Well, I
means.
know what that means.
Keeps you a little busy.
Sean, I know you got a lot of things on your mind. We haven't heard from you for a long time, but I know you got some things. Sean, so what's going on, bud?
Well, I wish I had some better things on my mind, George.
That's true.
You and
you
Rich brought up some really excellent points today. You mentioning the SNAP program,
Yeah.
and Rich mentioning who actually has control of the country right now at this point. You know, who controls which parts of the
Yep.
government right
Yeah,
now.
the control trifecta.
And it sickens me a little bit because what's happening is, and you know how infrequently I go to any kind of supermarket. I mean, if I go twice a month, it's a miracle, because living off the farm, you got pretty much everything you need, a lot of it. And so I have to, maybe do a supply run twice a month. But I can tell you this, the last 3 times I've gone to the supermarket, I have been behind in the checkout aisle a person who hasn't been able to afford their groceries. It's the longest process anymore to be in the checkout line with people because they literally, they've got their food there and they're looking at it and they're like, the credit card's not working, there's not enough money, not enough funds, and they're going through their groceries and they're picking out things and they're putting them back, and they start off with the unessential things, and then they're going through, and then what's the really sad part is they're going through the more essential things,
Right.
the meats and the dairy and the things that, the farmers in this country can provide very simply, very easily for them. And so it's a kind of a sickening wake-up call that this is still happening, right now in our country. That this really, there shouldn't be hungry people at this point at all. I mean, it's absolutely absurd to me.
Sean,
If we can spend trillions of dollars for a war, we can certainly feed the people of this country.
Yeah, you bring out the story about, people have to put groceries away because they can't afford it. I mean, there's
I've
baskets.
seen it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't go. I go to the grocery store maybe once a month to do a heavy load, and
Yeah.
I was out during the 4th of July, and there's a woman there with 2 kids, and she's trying to get hamburgers and hot dogs, and she didn't have. She needed like another $7 to get the hot dogs, and she told the clerk to put it away, and I just said, here's a $10 bill. Get your hot dog.
Yeah, yeah. And it's to the point now where we can't afford to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I used
It's
to do
crazy.
it too. And you know, you're trying to pay it forward, but sooner or later, I mean, you know, you're doing without.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. But and it's nice that you do that. I mean, it's nice that we all do that. But we shouldn't be relied upon when we have so many other resources that could be tapped for this. And it infuriates me whenever I'm seeing these new candidates coming on. You know, we've got candidates that, like George says, there's always an election running. There's always an election going. Somebody's always running for election. And we can hear these people. They're the Republican side. There's the side that is trying to space themselves from Donald Trump after they've put him in office and they've backed him all this time, and now they're spacing away. We knew it was going to happen at the 2-year mark, because that's when it is. It becomes lame duck president,
Right.
2 more years of nothing. But the fact of the matter is, we have some that are just absolute malcontents that are always cussing about what's going on in this county and complaining about the taxes, and they're complaining about, and they're going to do this different, and they're going to do that different. Your party is in control. Your party is the one doing this.
Yep.
And you want people to vote for you? It just boggles my mind.
Boggles on
When
my
I
mind.
see a recorder of deeds who's obviously running for commissioner, even though he's not saying it, obviously running for commissioner, but he's complaining about what's going on in the county, and he's complaining on what's going on in the country.
We the
You know
people.
what? Your party is in control, big guy.
Yeah.
Your party's in control. And what have you done about it?
Yep.
Squat.
Sean, I know you do a hard job taking care of your farm. Now, when you go to buy, I assume, feed and all that, I know it had to go up astronomical in the past year.
Everything, George. Absolutely everything. I mean, and anything that uses fertilizer, thanks to the war in Ukraine,
Right.
that was going to be solved day one when Donald Trump was elected.
By one phone call.
One phone
Right,
call.
one phone
But
call.
anything that has to do with fuel and fertilizer is astronomical. Now that's all of agriculture. You know?
Sean,
And he always manages to do this right at the perfect time too. It's either spring planting or fall harvesting when Donald Trump gets these revelations in his mind to fight wars and deflect from the Epstein files. Whatever it takes to
Sean,
take away from
we
something
have
else.
We have about 2
So-
minutes, but kind of share it. You're out and about. People, we have excellent, help me, with the markets on the weekend?
farmers market.
Farmers market.
Well, as you pointed out, George, we have excellent farmers markets all over the place, but people are not going to find them affordable unless we can get the SNAP program going again.
Yes.
Right.
And he just destroyed that. He absolutely destroyed that. But in all fairness, we will have a beautiful ballroom. We will have a brand new helipad. He will be the richest president, the biggest there ever was, George, biggest president there ever was, the richest one who will ever leave office. That's how many trillions of dollars in his pocket. But everybody else can go hang.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. But you're right. The farmers markets, they are a godsend, and we need to keep supporting them. But people have to have revenue to do it, and that's where we're having the trouble. They can't even afford the gas to drive to them. You know what I mean?
Market.
It's either we're just like we're marking our trips. How far can we go? We're watching every single penny now, and it's absolute insanity.
I just looked this up while you were on. On 22nd of January, gas was $3.10 a gallon, what I bought here, and it sure has have to come down under $4. Sean, we got about a minute. We're going to wrap this up. We appreciate your call.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks.
Yep. And that
Have a
was
good
Sean
weekend.
from the mountains. I want to thank Kenny and James. And Rich, you got anything planned for the weekend?
Keep the fingers crossed for the Pirates.
Well, I give up. I give up. TJ, how about yourself?
Whatever the boss decides at home.
Well, we know who the boss is.
Well,
And
we
it's
know
not
who that
me.
is,
And
yeah.
it's not
he'll
me.
be on Facebook. He'll be at Idlewild. Or
Kenny
he'll be
Wood,
at Kenny
who knows
Wood
where
at
I'll
the Pirate
be.
Game.
We'll do something.
Well, he'll be somewhere beyond a river. But there's nothing wrong with that. And you get to spend quality time with your family.
Yep.
Well, guys, we'll be back here, and again, maybe by next week, we'll have a budget in Harrisburg. Rich, you taking any odds? It happens this weekend?
I don't know. I'll put a $5 down and say it doesn't.
I'm going to say $5 it does. So
Okay.
we're going to pay up next Friday. TJ, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Everybody, we appreciate you calling. And again, the Fayette County Democratic Women will be on Five Corners. Stop by, say hello, blow the horn, and join them. And again, it's Democratic Hour. Everybody have a safe and great weekend.
You have been listening to the Democratic Radio Hour, heard every Friday at 3:15, right here on 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS.
Cloudy 75. We have showers in the area. There's also a flash flood warning till 5:45 and a flood watch until 10 tonight. And we'll have more on the weather coming up here in a bit. This is WMBS Uniontown, and it's 4 o'clock.
De-escalation. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's the short-term goal for Qatari negotiators now on the ground in Iran after 2 days of U.S. strikes and Iran counterattacks over commercial ships being